Welcome back. It's episode 2. I'm Greg from Greg's US Stamps for Collectors. We're going to take a look at what makes stamps collectible and how they've impacted my personal collection. So sit back, relax, and let's look at some stamps. Okay, I'm at my desk and we're going to start from the beginning, because the beginning, the first of anything, is usually collectible, and with US postage stamps that's no different. You've got Scott number 1 and Scott number 2. They were issued July 1st of 1847 and are extremely collectible. In fact, some collectors collect just those issues and work on a variety of colors and cancellations and things of that sort. Scott number 1 issued about 3.6 million copies. Scott number 2 issued about 864,000 copies. Anything under 1 million copies I consider fairly rare. So these stamps are the first, makes them extremely collectible. Not extremely rare, but extremely collectible. Here is an up-close look at my Scott number 1. Here is an up-close look at my Scott number 2. Moving on, die varieties are also extremely collectible. Here you have Scott's 5 through 9, with 7 and 9 being the most common of those. Plate varieties are just what it sounds like. It's where each individual stamp in that array of typically 100 stamps have slight variations in borders and re-engravings, things that got recut or cut out of the stamp. My favorite die varieties are the 13 through 16 issues. I would recommend at this point that you get those looked at through certifications so you know exactly what's going on. Die varieties can get very tricky and complicated. I especially like my 13 because of the cancel, which gives it kind of a Van Dyke look. Here is a look at the certification for my number 13 stamp, as well as a closer look at my number 13. Okay, moving on, rarity is also what can make postage stamps very collectible. Here is a Scott number 12. They issued about 150,000 of this particular stamp, one of the rarest on this page. Not quite as collectible sometimes as the first, which also affects the cost, but the Scott number 12 is extremely collectible, extremely rare, and if you can get it in good condition, can be quite valuable. Here is a close-up look at my Scott number 12. If you saw my first episode, you know that the 1901 Pan American issues are one of my favorite sets of stamps. They are a multicolor issue. These are the first multicolor issued stamps from 1869. They have not only a fantastic engraving and beauty to them, which makes them collectible, but they can also be rare. This is the Scott number 121, which printed about 200,000 copies or so. And then this is the Scott 122, which printed about 50,000. Now you're going to notice that that is indeed not the stamp. This is another collectible area, which is a proof. I enjoy this proof because of the detail that it brings to the actual engraving of the vignette in the background that is on that postage stamp. So here is a closer look at the detail and beauty of my Scott 121. Here is a little bit more detail and close-up look at my proof of Scott 122. Here's a look at my Columbian issue page. Here you'll notice both mint and used. I don't have all mint stamps. I don't have all used stamps. I have a combination of the two. However, most of my mint stamps are mint never hinged. You can also get them in hinged. You can get them in no gum, several varieties of unused postage. This is the first commemorative issue of stamps, of course, commemorating the landing of Christopher Columbus to the Americas. This set also has my rarest stamp. My rarest stamp is the 4-cent Columbian. It is Scott number 244. This is an excellent example of this stamp. It's very well framed. It is a little off center on the left. It's got a very nice face-free cancel. They only printed just under 27,000 of this particular stamp, and it is by far one of the favorite in my collection. Here's a closer look at my Scott 244. Moving on to some paper varieties. Yes, not all postage paper is the same. Here you have the much more common Scott 367 and the much less common Scott 369. The 369, they only printed about 637,000 copies, which makes it fairly rare. Again, I would encourage you to get those certified so that you know what you are buying. Here is a closer look at my Scott 369. Envelopes with the postage still remaining on them is also an extremely collectible area. This happens to be a nice copy of the Scott number 1A, which is the dark brown variety with a lovely Baltimore blue cancellation on it. So envelopes with the postage still attached, also extremely collectible. Multiples can also be collectible. I enjoy the 1901 Pan American series, as you know, and here I have the strips of 3, including the plate number. I don't have them all, but I do have the Scott number 294, the Scott 295, and the Scott 296. Here's a closer look at the Scott 296. So you can see there are several areas of collectability in U.S. stamp collecting. You want to try to get well-centered stamps when you can. You want to try to get some face-free cancellations or nice geometric cancels. That's what I prefer. But keep in mind, I've barely discussed topics like perfin and pre-cancels and airmail stamps and postage due. So get out there, find what you're interested in, a person, an event, something. Maybe it's just the beauty of the stamps, and focus on that area. You don't necessarily have to try to collect them all. Well, that's it for this episode. Thanks for stopping by. We look forward to seeing you in episode 3, where we'll get into more detail on U.S. stamp collecting. Thanks again. Bye-bye.